Hail and welcome to this episode of the Magical Human Show. I am Claire, the Oily Witch, and it is the 17th of October to 2025, and this is
June Tranmer. And yes, it's also the same day here in York.
June. Expected it to be a different day, and that is really a sign of the times. Like there is a lot of confusion in just generally around, really, in most aspects of life at the moment, which is making for a very interesting time. Memories
Time slippage. I call it time slippage.
memory, where is my memory? It
Yeah.
just, yeah, a heightened state of emotions for a lot of people. There's a lot going on
Mm.
at this point in the year. Do you want me to cover the astrology now?
Go on, dive in.
So Sun is currently in Libra. It's at 24 degrees of Libra
Mm.
precisely today. So it's getting to the kind of, mature end of that airy sign. By this point, we are practiced in the art of balance and justice and relating more easily with trying to be diplomatic in a level. I say in a level because Mars is in Scorpio.
Mm.
And Mars in Scorpio is at 17 degrees of Scorpio, so just gone past the midpoint, which is 15. And Mars in Scorpio is a very raw energy. It's the serpent energy of transformation, and it pierces through denial, revealing hidden motives and suppressed passions. When handled consciously, this is the energy that rebirths renewal after destruction and allows us to transmute our pain into purpose. And my goodness, a lot of people have been in pain recently. Now, that is actually conjunct to Mercury, who is also in Scorpio. So, what's happening here is we're being able to sense the truth of what is behind people's words.
Mm.
And people's communication is an awful lot clearer and more psychically based. And this is, whispers in the silences in between. It's alchemizing secrets into sacred wisdom. So there's a lot of, beauty around this, but also because they're conjunct to each other, there's this energy in communicating, but that community energy is communication energy, even not community energy, is going to be quite direct, quite clear, quite black and white. There is no space for denial any longer. Now, the moon today is in Virgo, 9 degrees of Virgo, and that can make for a kind of a critical edge of the mental mind, like the emotional body. That's the moon is your emotional body. So Virgo is kind of adds a element of perfectionism and self-criticism. So if you find yourself being a little bit harsher to yourself than you perhaps can sometimes be, blame it on the moon. Then you've got Venus is in Libra. So Venus is in her home sign. She's got two home signs, Taurus and Libra. And Venus in Libra is all about trying to find harmony and balance in relationships and also around self-worth, because that's what Venus represents. It represents our self-worth. So it's looking at and powered up with the other things, if you take it all into consideration, it's really, again, this continued invitation to be authentic is ultimately what it's all about. It couldn't be clearer than that. And learning to get above the swing of the pendulum, which is what astrology always does, is invites us a much higher bird's eye perspective to appreciate that there is a bigger picture energy going on here, and we're important parts of that. But understanding that it's part of a bigger picture helps us to not get so trapped in our triggers and therefore become disrespectful of difference. And so that's what we're basically all about is trying to be calm with that. I'm just looking at what else is going on. So Jupiter remains in Cancer, helping us with our emotional intelligence, our family bonds, And remember, that's chosen family as much as blood family and ancestral healing. And I never get tired of saying, I think that we're all born at this point in time to clear our ancestral karma. People that have chosen not to have children or couldn't have children for one reason or another, which ultimately is their soul has chosen that journey, um, are really about they're the end of the line. So it's like really up to them. And what I say to people when they come to me with their multiple complex issues is the fact that, it's not all them. Think of this lineage stuff that's kind of feeding in. And if you've got it from both sides, maternal line, paternal line, it's a lot of stuff to hold. So don't beat yourself up. Don't use that Virgo moon to get, should be doing better. Saturn is still going backwards in Pisces. So this is a renewal of our own faith. So I see this as a stepping into our own power. And I'm very much of the viewpoint that we need to practice our spiritual connections, like use them as regularly as we can to remind ourselves of this bigger picture and remind ourselves of the fact that we can communicate with this higher version of ourselves that is all knowing and all wise, and use that intel to help get us through and get our place above the pendulum, if that makes sense, June. If I don't, then let me know.
Yeah, above the pendulum. I'm not quite sure what you mean. You mean at the,
Okay.
the place where you're holding it or above it altogether?
Imagine the swing of the pendulum is life, right?
Yes.
Swinging through life. Getting above
Visuals.
it means that when things go your way or not your way, you're in a place of calm, peace, understanding, and tranquility, as opposed to literally on the pendulum going, oh my God, it's okay today. Oh my God, it's terrible today. So it's like getting above it so that you're more like it's just that peace point of just going, okay, that is challenging. I recognize the emotions associated with that, and I am going to process them because I'm being triggered. Something's going on here. What is going on within me? What's my reaction? Where's that come from? I'll do some healing around that. And then the next time that happens, my reaction will be lessened so that I'm not giving away and leaking my power everywhere or my misery in a
Yeah.
black vapor into the cosmic consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And I just to put the Chinese perspective on that, it's the Chinese medicine perspective. The that what you've just said sounds very yin. It's the point of receptivity and reflection that happens in the dark, that we need to be in the dark to do that reflection. And the swinging is very yang because it's movement and it's out there in the light and brings me to Pluto because you haven't mentioned that
I
yet.
haven't
And
got there yet, but
no, okay, so we'll wait
what
for that
you
one.
just said was
Mm,
super relevant for the Wheel of the Year because we're now in the shadow season. So
yes.
we're making our way down to Samhain at the end of this month, which is
Mhm.
Witch's New Year, final harvest, and then it's full on shadow journey until winter solstice. So we're in the yin. And I'd spend a lot of time explaining to people that the darkness is not something to be scary, it's earth. It's that point of
Mm,
reflection, of being held, allowing yourself to hold yourself while you look at things. So that's
mm,
super interesting. Um,
mm,
so you can have Uranus next. So Uranus is in Gemini, still going backwards. This is the mind revolution. So this is the quantum thinking, insights, perceptions, appreciation
mm,
of these multi-dimensional kind of time zones going on at the same time. Like everything is multi-dimensional. It's not just as you see it. There's all this stuff going on. So this is creating mental rewiring as we come into a place of kind of adjustment with
mm,
this, which again doesn't happen overnight. But in line with the Saturn, reverse in Pisces, Uranus reverse in Gemini, it's like, I really do think this is just like your sovereign power. Step into your own sovereignty, become your highest guide. You've got your best interests at heart. Nobody else has, but that connection, there's people like me that are wayfinders and June that are wayfinders saying this is how you do it. But once you do it, it's yours to manage. Neptune is retrograde in Aries, so that is beautiful because that's the dissolution of the self that's moving from the ego state into the soul state. So a lot of people are having a lot of struggles at the moment, lives dissolving around them, lots of upside down towers going on. And it's because the soul is going, come on, align. We're in this kind of journey. We're in this place in time where a new consciousness is coming into existence. The planet is changing. Our whole dynamic is changing. And people go, oh, it's an upgrade. It's just a different state. You can see it an upgrade if you want, but it's like, this is what happens down here on Earth. It's just, it keeps on evolving. And so, with that, we have to find our soul purpose. And that's what that alignment is about. And then, yes, Pluto has gone direct in Aquarius. He went direct on Tuesday and Tuesday the 14th. So, this takes him from in outside, he was inside us, and now it's the outside again because retrograde's in, direct is out. So this is the change in the metamorphosis of community. And this is truth acceleration.
Mm.
And we're going to feel that in the nervous system. So a lot of us can't sleep. A lot of people are feeling really emotional, triggered by that because in the collective soup, there is still a lot of misery and, dysfunction. And those of us that are more susceptible are really going to feel that as, those power paradigms, the old structures crumble and do what they can to hold on to the vestiges of their kind of, their power, their kind of, vampirism upon our energy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like continues to be a complicated time in history.
It is indeed. And people keep talking about more turbulence, and I'm going, oh, please, when are we
Hallelujah.
going to get to the calm waters? But
We
it's going
can't.
to carry on for the rest of this year, because of all those influences that you've just said. And then, of course, also the comets.
But June, it
Mm,
won't calm down for years
mm,
because it can't, because it
mm.
has to basically. But what can change is us. And the
Yeah,
energy is
we can
there.
find the inner calm within that's the point.
Yes, it's finding a way to be more flexible, more fluid, more
Mhm.
able to go with the quantum dynamic
Yeah.
than, the rigidity that our culture has had for so long. And it's like, finding ways to rest that are novel and not considered before, like meditation, like taking time out, like grounding, earthing, all the stuff that, we used to do and knew how to do and were told not to do.
Mm.
Anyway, talk about your comments, three eye.
Well, this is so interesting. I think I've given you the links to Heather and Pam's most recent, well, they're just constantly putting out stuff. So if people want to go there and research, there's a wealth of information there. Both of those two wonderful people have been speaking to, what's her name?
Magenta Pixie,
No, 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 no. Oh, Holly. No, anyway, it doesn't matter.
somebody.
She's she's been channeling Archangel Raphael.
Oh, yes, her. I know who you mean. I don't know her
She's
name, but
lovely, lovely. So she's in there. And also, oh crap, what was I going to say? Yes, yes. What they said was this comet may not be a comet. It's
oh, we
actually
know that. It's just,
green colored. We've already mentioned this, but the thing is, Stephen Burns was also saying this, that it's an intergalactic
yeah.
entity that it's got this strange makeup that's got loads of cyanide and nickel in it, which is not normal for comets from our galaxy. And it's green colored, heart chakra. Okay, bear with me. They're saying it's bringing a wave of love, and I'm pinning my hopes on that because if everybody who's doing wicked things and is human and has a heart, they are going to be hit with this wave. And they're going to suddenly get illumination. This is my hope. And when you talk about renewal after destruction, this is so clearly where we are. And there's people trying to hoodwink us into thinking that they've got the answers for the renewal of Palestine, and they haven't. So their kind of renewal is not what's going to happen. The Palestinians have got to have control over that. It's got to happen. And this is where this massive wave of love that is streaming towards Palestine right now, the guys who are doing the destroying are getting increasingly desperate. Exactly what you've just said. Exactly what you just said. More explosions, more bombs, more murder, more kidnapping, more nonsense. And it's heartbreaking, but if we come back to nature and back to inside ourselves and the meditation, that is what we need to do mostly. As people say, "Oh, I feel helpless. I can't look at it. It's too awful." We have to send them love. That's the bottom line. We don't have to look at the mess. If it's too much to bear, you don't have to look, but you can send your love, and that's to everybody, everybody included, even the guys that you don't like.
Well, I'd say to people, just send it down into the ley lines, and those that need it will receive it. Um, that's really interesting about cyanide and nickel. Not that
Mm.
I'm allergic to nickel, and cyanide is toxic to humans, but
Well, it
given
is in
small
certain
amount.
doses, but there in small amounts. It's B17 in the anti-cancer kind of foods.
And is this what you were eating your apple pips for?
Apple pips, um,
Almonds?
chickpeas, almonds, um, apricot kernels. Yeah, macadamia nuts. Many, many things have got a little bit of this Laetrile. It's called Laetrile. It's got many names.
Wow, it's like homeopathy, huh?
Well, it is in a way, but it's being in tune with and only taking enough to help break open the cancer cell. That's what I understand it does. I've been looking at this for many years. I've got loads of books on this, and it breaks open the cancer cell and allows digestive enzymes to get in there and help destroy it and rearrange it and make sure it doesn't do more growing.
Yes, to yeah, get it to kill itself. Doesn't
Mm,
lecithin do that by removing the cholesterol from outside the cell so that the vitamins and minerals can get once again through the lipid
mm,
surface?
mm.
Lecithin. But
Yeah.
interesting. Anyway, it's super interesting. I mean, yeah. And I think that it's that sentiment of, the above having an influence and the fact that we're not alone in this galaxy and
Mm.
there is, I think what I love about astrology and all of this is, if you move with the energy that's available to you, then you're finding a greater flow than if you are trying to not take advantage of what's available. It's like, going to a supermarket and, not seeing all the wonderful things that you could use to make a fantastic meal for yourself. It's like, you don't understand it.
Mm.
So you can't use it. Not the best analogy. Don't really know where that came from.
I think it's yeah, well you are saying that people have choices. And this is the bottom line, really. We are given to believe right now that we are not going to have choices in the future. And that is absolutely not true. We always, always have a choice. And my feeling is do not comply with anything that doesn't resonate with you, that doesn't feel right.
And trust your intuition because it's going to
Mm,
be heightened with
mm,
all of the energy that's
mm,
happening. It's to really soup people up and make them
mm,
question things.
mm, mm,
Yeah, it's like, I guess, yeah, okay, supermarket theme again. I think it's like eating fresh fruit in winter, which is extremely bad for you. The reason it's bad for you is because fresh fruit is deeply detoxing and enlivening. And when we're in winter, the body
yeah.
wants to slow down, rest, and recover and hold on to things. It doesn't want to be doing these kind of cleanses. You want to
Yeah.
be doing cleanses when we come into spring and when we come
Mm,
out of February moving forward, really. And then we get to this time of the year and it's like, watch what you put in, absolutely, but just allow your system to slow down and be nourished with stews and, potage and soups and things like that.
Well, and stewed fruit with ginger and cinnamon.
Yeah, because that's different.
That's
That's
got
not
the
eating
warming
raw citric,
aspect.
is it? Yeah,
Exactly,
exactly.
exactly.
It's like
In the
apple.
cold climates, if you're in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
hot climate, have raw things. That's cool, but cool,
But not exactly
cooling. But
in the
yeah,
southern hemisphere, have some fruit at this
or
time.
in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah, but not in
Yeah.
the others. Not us. And you're right,
Mm,
sultanas, apples, pears, things that berries that can be
mm.
kind of, heated up are
Yeah,
very plums. Very
yeah.
good.
There's a wonderful blood nourishing jujube date. It's red date, and it's great. You shouldn't really eat it raw. It's too much for your body to digest, generally speaking, raw. But putting it in stews and things, Asians tend to use it a lot in
Red
cooking.
dates.
Red jujube dates.
Not
Yeah.
heard of them. I'd say keep in mind your blood and your genealogy when you're making decisions about your diet.
Mm.
I put some apple in a stew the other day, and that was
Mm.
really nice. Beef stew with a bit of apple, just
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
sweeten it. I've never done that before, but I quite liked it. Um,
Yeah.
Other things to say are that there is a new moon on Tuesday. Everything's happening on Tuesday.
Mm.
At the moment, Tuesday, the 21st, is a new reed moon, and reed takes us through Samhain. So, reed, if you think about empty reeds, the reason they take us through Samhain is because when the wind whistles through them, it creates a sound, which again, the ancestors are always looking for ways to communicate with us. And they are a straight up connection between the below and the above. In a straight line, there's no messing around with a reed, it's straight up. So this new moon is in Libra. So it's an invitation for kind of finding your balance in the darkness, really. And that means things like looking after your health, not eating lots of chocolate Claire before you go to bed and not getting any sleep because you're rammed full of caffeine, which I've done twice this week already. And, mm, things
Not
like
too many stimulants. Not too
well,
many
yeah,
stimulants,
and it's
generally speaking, right now. Yeah.
absolutely. And, I was eating dark mint chocolate thinking I was fine, but dark mint
Lovely.
chocolate as a digestive after in the evening is not a good choice for me personally. But yes,
Have it at lunchtime.
exactly. When I can wear it off. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
agree.
Yeah, we need to really look after our solar plexus and our digestion. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of death, says the Scorpio, um, coming up, for a lot of people. Every time I turn around, somebody says I'm going to a funeral. So every single person I know has lost somebody recently, including myself. And our solar plexus really needs looking after because that's the place where we have our threads that go out connecting us, as well as our heart, obviously. But this thread here, when someone passes, we lose that
That's
very real energetic connection to their physical being, their physical energy. But that's not to say that they're gone. I mean, I've talked to you about how I tried to speak to my brother about karmic whatnots, and he wouldn't discuss it. So now I'm going to have to just talk to him now he's gone because
you'll have to listen now.
he's going to have to listen
He
now.
doesn't get a choice. Command him in. But let's just go back to the solar plexus because my understanding is it's the sacral chakra that's our connection to everybody else, and the solar plexus is just our connection to ourselves and our personal power.
Uh, no, so solar plexus is our connection to our family and it's our tribe
I
and
see
and
that
and
as the
things.
sacral chakra, so that's
That is the sacral. That's what I mean. That's what I just didn't I say that? Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
you
I'm
said solar
agreeing with you.
plexus,
The
sacral.
sacral chakra is our
Yeah,
connection to our tribe and our family, but the
yeah.
solar plexus has got threads. It's the center of that second brain, and it's got that nervous system connection. So
It's ruled by Virgo, which
yeah.
is related to our nervous system. Interesting. And
Yeah.
that's where you get butterflies in your stomach when you're going to take a pill you
Yeah.
want to go to,
Yeah.
and a nervous stomach or digestion because of your nerves literally playing out. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. And of
Yeah.
course, it's the umbilicus center or just around there.
Well, it's the one above and one below. The umbilicus is right in between the two.
Yeah.
That's why the vagus nerve is so popular right now. Everybody's talking about working on the vagus nerve because they're recognizing that they are stirred up in here and their nervous system is shot to pieces with confusing messages and not knowing what the hell's going on. And so people, that's another way of really calming down. Stanley Rosenberg has written a really good book about that. I would highly recommend that book. And I have a little video about it on my YouTube channel. It's a very amateurish one, but I just talk people through the basic exercises that he outlines in his book.
Well,
Many
calming
people
the
are
vagus
doing
nerve.
videos on this. There's loads of people doing all these different videos. I tend to stick to his because I don't know that much more about it than what he
Can
was
you
the
give us, this is for
instigator.
calming the vagus nerve, right?
Hmm.
Do one quickly, or if you,
Okay, well, the first one is you join your hands together, put them behind your head.
which you do.
You can do this lying down,
Men do this when they're trying to take over
a meeting, in a
dominance.
meeting. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Self-soothing maybe. I don't know, who knows. So then you look to one elbow towards it, if however far you can reach, without straining your eyes, and count to 30. And what you'll get is a little sigh at some point, or a yawn, and then you know you've done, and then you go to the other side. And I've done this so much now, I get the sigh
I got
really,
mine quite quickly.
really quickly. Yeah. So that's the first one. And then there's the other ones with the head tilted and turning hands on the wall and turning over. Yeah, so there's
Like
quite a
that.
few.
Head on the hands on the wall.
Yeah, but you need to do them in the sequence, I think. I'm pretty sure that it's
Okay, we'll
better
put a
to do
link
them
to
in the
June's
sequence.
video
But yeah,
because it
yeah.
very much sounds like it's worth watching, June.
Mm. So talking about taking the bird's eye view, interesting thing I did this week. Was it this week? So much has happened. No, last week. Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, just like, who knows? Recently, since we last spoke, um, I did a birds thing. It was
You mean a
a
shaming?
flower essence.
Oh, flower
Sorry,
essence.
I've just realized I've lost an earring again. It keeps coming out, that one. I've just found it this morning and it's gone again. There's a sign there somehow. Stop wearing them. Um, Yeah, there's someone, a lovely woman called Natalia, who's in Chile, who's a member of the British Flower Essence Association and the flower essence producers. And she's created these essence related to all these wonderful birds in Chile. And it was just such an interesting workshop. Just really, really lovely. And what came up for me were three different, she found ones for us, but this particular one is oh, its name, green-backed fire crown, which is a tiny hummingbird,
Wow.
and it's good for grounding people. And yeah, you can look at her website. It's called Patagonia Flower Essences. It's got some fascinating things in it. And then there's another one that was my particular one of my we each got three, was the Chilean
But what
sparrow.
about the
Chilean
one?
sparrow. And it's about remembering to have fun, remembering to be the connection with the child, inner child. And I thought, yeah, that's
But what about the ones for this country? I'm only interested in native birds.
yeah, I know. I've always, with my flower essences, I've always stuck to the original Dr. Bach flowers of this country. But people have done such amazing work with these other ones around the world. And this was just I'm not suggesting for a minute that people go and start taking all these essences to do with birds from Chile, but it's just really interesting that that advice came up.
Yeah,
Get in touch with your inner child and joy in the middle of tragedy because you can see that. You can see that even people who are being bombed to shite are still finding joy. I mean, they are such an inspiration. They're incredible. So, that's what I wanted to bring about the birds. And I've also done I,
I do. I think it's great. And I think it's really great
Mm,
that all this stuff is coming in and that people having this kind of beautiful connection and finding ways to share their medicine and connect it with the animal world and the plant
mm.
world. And this is all becoming much more, available. I think that's just beautiful.
Yeah, plants are not just nice to look at or nice to eat. They have an essence. They have well, they in anthroposophy in Steiner world, they call them the elementals. And it very much the creatures that are part of that energy that are relating to us. If we just, it's like angels. If you want them to help you, someone, who was it who said they're just sitting there filing their nails, waiting to be asked? These unemployed angels. I think it was Pam Gregory or Nancy Rebecca. Yeah, it was very funny. It's just underemployed angels. They're just waiting for us to call upon them, and it's the same with the animals. I did this wonderful shamanic day where we went on journeys. That was last Sunday, and I found my power animal was a rabbit.
Which I think is brilliant because I'm
But
here to.
but it was I was like everybody else has got a panther and a leopard and a wolf. On the rabbit. And no, actually, I came home and I looked at my medicine card book, and rabbit is to do with fear. Okay.
And kidneys.
Well, she doesn't mention that in the medicine card book, but it can be. Yes, of course. And kidneys and fear and etc., etc. But what this rabbit did, not cute, cuddly little rabbit. No, 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 no. Pushed me off a cliff into the water so that I could address the feelings that I am afraid of. It was
Very
absolutely
Donnie
brilliant.
Darko rabbit yours was. Do you know
Donnie, well, I did
how?
I didn't want to mention that because that's a horrific rabbit. But yeah. Yeah, I am scared of that rabbit. That is for sure. But yeah, my rabbit is kind of friendly but firm. And yeah, it was very good.
Well, rabbits are very well. The year of I'm a rabbit, so I know this. The rabbits are very family orientated, very much community orientated because they
Mm,
look out for one another and keep an eye on what's going on, etc.
mm.
And they are, quite brave animals. They're not, and just because I guess it's because they're soft and they're quite vulnerable.
Cute.
Yeah.
They're
That we
cute.
think they're not kind of, robust, but they are, and they can slither
They
into
are.
the most tiniest of spaces. So they're
Yeah.
quite flexible. They're water creatures, rabbits, aren't they? Kidneys, water, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, they must be. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. And well, that's why it pushed me into the water, obviously.
It's
Obviously.
emotions.
Yeah.
Rabbit, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So
Mm.
yeah, so I last night did a trauma release exercise as well. I've been really going for it. And somebody was offering one online, and after that, I read a post by somebody on Instagram about being oh, well, she was so eloquent about her being a mother and looking after her child and protecting him from the tr struggles that he was going to face as a child that looked different to the other kids. She's Korean, but she lives in North America somewhere. I think she's in the States. But yeah, floods of tears for that child, that mother, that she had to feel that and he had to face that. I mean, I don't want to take everybody's challenges away, don't get me wrong, but it breaks my heart that people can be mean to children. It
Children are
absolutely,
mean to each other as well.
yes, well, this is the thing. I mean, in school, she was made fun of because she had kimchi in her lunch.
Yeah, and but people, I'd say that what it is people are taught to be fearful of difference because
Yeah.
we've got a homogeneous society. And that's what we're breaking away from. So maybe we will be more celebratory of difference as we evolve, because we will, I think people are coming back into individuality. So I would hope that with that comes this sense of more compassion about understanding and more appreciation, and rather than this sheep herd mentality that we've got. And I think that, as we know, the people that follow us and the people we follow are not herd mentalists. They're people that basically like to make their own minds up about things and be a bit more independent.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, and you can only be mean to somebody if you haven't fully accepted yourself. That's the thing. If you don't respect yourself and feel for some reason that you're guilty or you've got shame or you've got all these lower level kind of feelings you're stuck with, then how on earth are you going to be able to raise yourself up to the level of love that we require for the future human being? To be respectful and accepting of another human being just because they exist, not
but
for
we,
any other reason.
but I think we will learn that. That's the point. We're going to evolve,
Mm,
then we'll learn that, and we'll
mm,
do that, and we'll go to an
mm,
extreme with that, then we'll come back the other way, and and so it goes through
mm.
life. But that personal development you're talking about, me too. I think that seems to be the time, and certainly a lot of people in my circles are saying that they are going through big personal development things where things are coming up and they're having to work through things. And I went on a boarding school survivor weekend.
You did.
I did. I did that just after we last spoke. So I went off there the next day. So I had a weekend of fellow boarding school survivalists. And we went through that process together, and it was incredibly deep and triggering. And yeah, I cried a lot and I learned a lot. And I found a community, and that was quite interesting. That these people, like our culture, I found a culture that was in common with these people that generally I don't stumble across people who have that cultural in common with me because of by design, really, probably avoiding them. But yeah, the institutionalized trauma is quite interesting.
Mm,
And I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done around that, because it's likened to the institutionalized trauma one gets from being in a children's center. The difference is that, the children's center, the parents don't want you or can't have you. In a boarding school, someone's paid for you to go into an institution. So they still don't want you.
because they don't want you and can't have you. Yeah, most people, well, I don't know, I'm supremely generalizing. Most people I know who went to boarding school felt like their parents were rejecting them.
Well, yeah, but you're supposed to be grateful for the privilege of the
Uh-huh.
yeah, and people don't recognize that it's a problem because they think, oh, you went to private school, lucky you. And it's like, have you
Mm-mm.
any idea? So
Yeah.
that's been hugely interesting, like this piece of work. Yeah, so I did that, and then I'm doing some stuff around children and parenting children that have issues around kind of aggression. And I've gone on this course, and that's super fascinating as well. And this kind of, and obviously the two are kind of linked, but it's mad. The one of the women was saying that there's been 100% increase in children disrespecting their parents. And they did a study in America, no, Australia, that tends to lead the way with these things. I think it was in Tasmania. And they asked all these young people why they were so aggressive and rude towards their parents. And they said, because we can, and because we enjoy the power it gives us. And the sense of entitlement of, well, they have to give me what I want. That's their duty. And what are they going to do about it anyway? And a
Wow.
lot of conversations with people about the fact that the power that we've given to children is completely out of kilter.
Yeah.
And it's like we've given them the lunatics, we're letting the lunatics run the asylum, although I don't like that because Luna is the moon and,
Yeah.
anyway.
And it's mostly women, and we don't want to.
Yeah, and also,
Mm,
the full moon and what it does is a wonderful thing. But
mm,
yeah, it's like, and we're giving it to people that aren't in a position to make informed decisions because they haven't got any life experience.
yeah.
So it's like it's tipped it the other way. So there's this whole thing going on with parenting challenges and how do you parent children in today's society well so that they are equipped to deal with the world properly. And it's really difficult. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I think they're
Mm.
embarrassed that, it's their children aren't great. So, yeah, that's another whole.
Yeah, because they will feel judged and because people do endlessly judge parents. You see people tutting at people in the supermarkets or in the streets if their child is crying. It's like there's something wrong with you. Why is your child crying and bothering me? You know, keep them under control.
But similarly, tutting at them if their child starts being rude to them and they're not doing anything about it and they're just giving in. It's like, you can't kind of win. You just, and again,
No.
it comes back to looking after yourself. What works for you? How do you
Mm.
feel about all of this? And stop, worrying about what everyone else is thinking about your business is like your business. So you have to do it your way. And the other thing was that herd mentality that the kids were saying was, well, I'm better than my friends. Everybody else does it. Why shouldn't I speak like this? And it's like, woo, you just like
Wow.
that excuse. And then the parents are thinking, well, if everyone else is doing it, then that's okay. It's like,
Who started it though? Who was the first one? This is what makes me fascinated because these things spread like wildfire and you can never quite pinpoint where it started. But it could be social media, it could be television shows, it could be films, it's
well,
probably America.
well, it's the culture, but it's also, I'd have to say, it's also the lashback against the don't say no parenting. The yes parenting, say yes to everything, don't restrict and stuff like that, which I don't
Yeah.
agree with.
I know there's a lot of people who seem to have wanted, I think maybe it's swinging around again now, but who wanted to be friends with their children before the children were old enough to be actually their friends. That can happen down the line, but not while you're responsible for their survival.
And how you bring them up and make them understand how it works so that they
Mm,
can survive in
mm,
the world. And I guess another thing that came up on this course, most of us were 8 when we got sent to boarding school. And
yeah,
it's like, how do you parent if you were institutionalized at the age of 8? You don't have a reference. It's
yeah.
like, how do you do that? You don't know what's appropriate and what's not. So, I mean, I've done loads of courses to become equipped because I just didn't have the knowledge, the wisdom to
Yeah.
do that. But it's just, yeah, I think I'll probably talk more about that if it becomes relevant and it comes up, because I think there
Mm,
is a need to talk about these things and be explicit about
mm.
them because, those of us that have got children have a responsibility for the future of this planet because those people are going to be basically on the planet making a contribution. And let's hope it's a positive one.
Yeah. Well, I think we could do a whole chat on children, just that, because, I've got many years experience treating children, helping parents with like pregnancy, birth, after, babies, all the whole caboodle. And it's very important to me that people have the right support. And that's the other thing. If we have fragmented communities, people aren't getting the support that they need. You can't expect isolated families to have to deal with, especially single parents, to have to deal with everything all on their own. It
Yeah.
takes a village to raise a child, really, literally.
And yet that doesn't happen. So
No. Well,
it
not in our culture
no, it does in some
at the
places
moment.
do it.
Some cultures it does. Yeah.
No, and I think some people do it over here as well. I see that in kind of
Yes.
people have chosen to live back where they grew up and they've got friends and, there's a community which they can go back into. I don't have that luxury. And a lot of people I know don't have that luxury. So that makes it even more challenging because then you're isolated going, what the hell?
Well, yeah, this is it. Our family, my parents went to Canada, cut themselves off from both sets of parents. Didn't know if they'd ever see them again anyway in the 1950s. As it's turned out, they did see a fair amount of them, and telephones improved so they could talk to each other, so they didn't have to rely on writing letters. But yeah, and then I moved over here, and I had my kids And then I was a single parent on my own raising them, put myself into that situation for some kind of perverted self-punishment. And then but I did manage to surround myself with a lovely community at the school where they went to school. So I didn't feel completely on my own with them. And they had this beautiful nursery experience, which nurtured them. And they said to me once, we have three homes. We have dad's, we have yours, and we have school. And I just went, oh, okay. That's good. This is good. Um,
So,
but yeah, this is why I think a lot of people are now building communities
yeah.
where intentional communities where they're going to live with people who are like mind and but you can't agree with everybody all the time, so there's bound to be discussions and working things out and stuff like that. And I think this whole pretending that everything's all right, that I was just listening to a podcast by Sonia Polton talking about the stiff upper lip thing that is portrayed to the nth degree by the royals, and that's the standard, the benchmark where we're supposed to just suck it up.
But that is the people, the elite that go to these private schools that learn at a very young age that emotions are not welcome.
Yeah,
There
and
isn't a
dangerous.
space for
It's
your
dangerous.
emotions, your needs will not get met. And it's described as developing the survival strategist personality,
Yeah,
which means that yeah, you will find a way to ingratiate, accommodate, but you wear so many masks, you don't
yeah.
even know who you really are underneath all your masks. So
No, no.
it's a very interesting
And
thing,
that's before we even get to the child abuse. It's
which
even
is just
endemic. It's
yeah.
absolutely endemic. And it's a wonder anybody survives at all, to be honest with you.
Well,
The
I think
miracle of human resilience. I so much admire our ability to cope with toxins in the air, in the water, in the food, and toxic emotions around us, and misinformation and abusive kind of behavior from people who are supposed to look after us on all levels, but we still survive and thrive and find joy.
and
We
that's
do.
the thing, isn't it? We do still survive and we get through things, we get wise because of them, we process them,
Yeah.
and you come through the other side. And that's
Mm,
why having some spirituality helps you to make sense of the things,
mm,
the bad things that have happened, to understand that you didn't cause them, you chose them on some level, but in a
mm.
way that was for your greater learning. It's not that you're a messed up person. In fact, you're probably just somebody that's going to help others, and you're just amassing your experience in the field of life.
Well,
Um,
this is right, and nobody is really a victim as such, except that people who have not got any power are made into victims by people who claim power over them. But nobody is truly a victim, and this is the message
yeah,
of the
well, that's
time.
giving your power away is by going, oh, I'm a victim. It's like, well, you've
Mm.
just submitted. You've literally submitted. Okay, my
We're
dearest.
done. You
I'm
have
going.
to go. I have to
I have
go.
to go. You have to go. We all have to go. We've gone on some interesting spirals today. We hope that what we've said resonates with you and supports you. Presumably, Spirit has arranged you to listen to this, so I'm sure it will resonate. And we'll put as many links as we can in the kind of YouTube description box. And June will definitely post her wonderful video
Oh,
on calming our vagus nerves, which I expect everyone to practice in depth regularly, and I certainly will be, so that we can remain calm.
yes, indeed.
Blessed be one
Blessings.
and all.